My name is Joe Wood. I'm the Director of Instructional Technology and Assessment for a K-12 school in Sacramento called Natomas Charter School, which we'll talk about in a second. But I wanted to learn a little bit about you guys before we get started. So just a quick show of hands. How many of you in here are teachers, classroom teachers? You have children assigned to you, all right? How many of you are TOSAs, teachers, but you no longer have kids assigned to you all the time, all right? How many of you are administrators? Could be a principal, could be a vice principal, could be a coordinator. Is anyone in here work at the district office? Like you're a director of technology, a CBO, a CTO? All right, good, all right. So now I know who's here. So here's what I want you to do before we get too far along. I'd like you to just turn to the person next to you. Introduce yourself, shake your hand. Yes, we are in a room of 300, but we're going to get to know each other. And share with them one cool thing you learned today. So some logistics for this workshop. All the session resources, actually it's going to be a link to this slide deck, will be posted at my blog, joewoodonline.com/workshops. And if we haven't met each other via Twitter, I am UCDJoe on Twitter. It's a good way to get a hold of me. So if you have any questions afterwards or you want to share stuff, just let me know. So a little bit about who I am and what I do. So I work at this school in Sacramento called Natomas Charter School. Natomas Charter School is actually one of the oldest charter schools in California. Here's a little known trivia fact. There were 34 charters all founded on the first day that the charter law went into place, and they're in alphabetical order by name. So since we're N, we're number 19. Anyway, we're established in 1993. We're actually part of a larger school district. We're part of Natomas Unified School District, and we're a teacher-initiated charter. So that means it was a group of teachers that actually came together and founded our school. And that's actually kind of important for you to know, because I am the director of technology, but the whole reason why I am the director of technology for this school is because I was a teacher, and I'm really passionate about kids and adults working together. We have about 1,600 students, and I'm kind of giving you this information so you know, if I can do this, you can do this too. We're TK through 12. We have 5 academies, and we have everything from site-based elementary, project-based learning middle school, homeschool program, a virtual high school, you name it. And all throughout all of our schools, it's about teachers developing thematic interdisciplinary units. So we have teachers that are really developing curriculum. So one thing that is, like I said, a key part of me is that I started my career as a teacher. This is actually my 2nd grade class when I was a student teacher. All of those children are now of drinking age or older, but I haven't aged a bit, as you can tell in the photo. No, so I started my career as a teacher, and I will always be a teacher. I don't care what role I hold in a district, I will always be a teacher. And I've been a 2nd grade teacher, I've been a middle school science teacher, I've been a TOSA, and as a TOSA, I started out as a technology TOSA, and then the next year everything changed in the district, and I was a literacy TOSA. Yes, the science teacher who was the tech guy became the literacy TOSA. It can happen to you too. So I've been a literacy TOSA, I've been an admin in the sense of either formally or informally being the vice principal or the principal of a site, and then like I said, now I'm the CTO, Director of Technology and Assessment for our school. Currently, 382 children dancing together every single day. And the reason why we do this is it obviously stimulates brain activity, gets you excited, gets you active. It also really connects you with kids. And that's what everything we're going to talk about today. It's about using these tools to really be connected with kids. And whatever we're doing at our school, I really believe learning needs to be engaging, it needs to be creative, it should have lots of laughter. You guys are laughing during the Dino Stomp, whether you recognize it or not. It should be inspiring, it should make you curious, and ultimately, learning should be fun. As educators, we have the luxury, the ability, the amazing power to come to school every day and truly change children's lives. And honestly, change our own in the same process with all of these different resources that we're using. So here's what I would like you to think a little bit about. It's catching up. What inspires you? What is it about teaching? What is it about technology? What is it about education in general that inspires you? And if you're like, I have no idea, what do you want to think about? Think of something that really inspired you in the past week. And turn back to that person you talked to at the beginning and share with them something that really inspired you. Go. So as I walked around the room, I heard stories about kids having the aha moment, adults having the aha moment. I heard stories about someone in the back using video games, and she just had, I think, 1,000 kids, is that right? 300 kids playing Just Dance. all at once. How amazing must have that been? That was really cool. So something that inspires me every day is my own son. So I have a son, his name is Michael. Michael's 7. He was formerly a foster youth, and we actually adopted him last year. Adoption Day is coming around for us in June. And not only is Michael this amazing 7-year-old that I get to learn from every single day, he also goes to my school. And what I've learned with my son, and what I've really been inspired about with him, is that the role of every single one of us, I don't care if you're a teacher, a principal, a custodian, the cafeteria worker, the tech guy, your role is to make that child's life better, by connecting with them, by being an adult in their life that knows that they care about them, that is interested in what they're interested in, that is curious in what they're curious in, and wants to learn from and with them. So this whole thing that I'm going to talk about today started from some unlikely places. First, my child and some of the curiosity there, but then how many of you have ever heard of No Office Day? So No Office Day, it's been less popular this year than it was last year, but it was a hashtag on Twitter. And what it was at its heart was about administrators spending an entire day outside of their office. Now, those of you that are classroom teachers, you're like, welcome to my world. But it's really, as someone who's, when you're in that administrative role, someone who's like, I'm going to close my email, I'm going to ignore the voicemails, and I'm going to really go out and learn alongside my teachers and learn alongside my kids. And so for me, I thought a little bit about, okay, as a director of technology, what does No Office Day really look like? Can I possibly get out to classrooms? I mean, what if the internet breaks at that moment that I'm out in the classroom? What do I do? What does that look like? So it started there. And then the second place it started is SMART goals. Now talk about an unlikely place of working with kids and being inspiring. How many of you have used SMART goals in some sort of goal setting, whether it's with children? So in my IT department, we use SMART goals. It's actually how we do our annual evaluations. In my IT staff and I, we have to set 3 SMART goals. We set a goal for the school, a goal for the department, and a goal for ourselves. And in the case of my 2 IT staff members that work for me, they've never been in the classroom. So their goals that they set for themselves were about connecting with kids. Now, those of you that are CTOs, I'm just going to warn you, there is one downside to this. My desktop support technician next year is going to be my 3rd grade teacher. So I'm going to have to go find a new desktop support technician. That's like the one downside. But how amazing is that? That my desktop support technician, as a result of going out and being in the classrooms, playing Minecraft with kids, reading books with kids, became so inspired that this was something he wanted to do, that he really wanted to work with kids more than he had before. And all great ideas are stolen or borrowed. So these are some of my best edu friends that are out there. Brian Briggs, Diane Main, Jennifer Klosko, John Miller, Sam. These people are the ones that inspire. What I'm going to show you that I did today, none of it's original. I borrowed it from these people, and I'm hoping that you will borrow it from me, okay? And you will take it and you will do amazing things with it. So I started with 3 guiding questions. How can I connect with students in a more meaningful way? Where can I create an innovative learning environment with no strings? I can go into teachers' classrooms. I have a great teaching staff, and they'll let me in their classroom anytime I want. But I didn't really want to have to worry about the learning target for this moment in time. I actually wanted to be the learning target to sort of be like, we're just going to have fun together, and we're going to figure this stuff out. And also, how can I model for my teachers the use of all these STEM and programming tools? At my school, we've been acquiring things like Lego Mindstorms EV3s or these rolling spiders. And honestly, they're cool, they're awesome. We were inspired by what other people were doing with them, and then they sat in a box. Because the teachers didn't have time to figure it out. The principal didn't have time to figure it out. I honestly didn't really have time to figure it out. So let's see if we can put some children to work and have them kind of help us figure it out. So here was the solution we came up with. And I'm sharing this solution kind of explicitly because it's a solution you can borrow and use tomorrow. I don't care who you are and what you do, it's a solution you can do tomorrow. So we actually decided we already kind of had an existing after-school program, literally like daycare for children. It's great, daycare for children, but it's daycare for children. And we had it really actively in our elementary grades. And so what we decided to do was to tweak it a little bit. And we were gonna do some 6-week classes. And so some of the classes, actually, there's one of our special ed teachers, she was curious and learning more about pottery, and so she actually teaches like a 6-week pottery class. There was another teacher that was interested in Zumba, so she started teaching like a 6-week after-school Zumba class. So there were a couple other educators doing this, and then there was me. I was like, ooh, we got all these technology tools. I want to see what this looks like. So we came up with 3 to 4 workshops. There's like 20, 25 students per class. And it was really, each workshop was either about students creating a product or students exploring something. And one of the questions I always get is, well, how did you fund it? So our after-school program that the kids normally go to has a fee. It's completely optional. You don't have to take your kids there. But we wanted to make sure that our after-school enrichment workshops were open to everyone. So we just said, you know what, it's donation. We were very open with parents. Hey, it's basically $10 a week, so $60 for a 6-week workshop. If you can pay for it, awesome. If you can't, that's awesome too. But realize if you do contribute that money, we will put it all back into buying materials and supplies for your students. So really, no one's getting sort of paid through this. All of us that are employees, we're kind of doing this. I mean, it's within our work hours, but it's kind of also donation at the same time. We're really doing it because we're inspired. So we have, as a result of this, Lego EV3 kits. We have more rolling spiders. We have like, a million Spheros. We have more iPads. We have more, all sorts of tech tools that I can think of that really came from this, really came from just families going, yes, I'd like to contribute that. Yes, I'd like to be a part of that. And one question people always ask me is like, well, how affluent or impoverished is your population? So officially, we're about 25-30% free and reduced lunch. But I will tell you, working with our families, we are a very solid middle to lower middle class population. Our families they're honestly the working poor that actually is kind of a little above, that sort of baseline. So I share that because if we can do it, you can do it too, is basically what I kind of want to mention. Okay, so the first thing that we did were Minecraft workshops. So our first Minecraft workshop was truly Minecraft exploration. It was like, let me see if I can find a manual to figure out how to make a server and figure out how to buy the licenses and install it. And that really took all my brain power. And like the day the kids showed up, I was like, do you know how to actually get around in this world? Because I'll make the world. You guys got to teach me. So our first Minecraft exploration was just that. It was kids just got in the world together. We sort of learned different things. We came up with mini lessons on the fly. Oh, look, he discovered how to lasso a horse and put a saddle on it. Awesome, he can ride a horse. Can you come up and teach the rest of the class how you can ride a horse? That was basically what this workshop looked like. So like I said, we did Minecraft exploration. It was just some basic building. Can you go in and build a house and survive the night? That was all we were working on. And we also got some Minecraft Legos, and so we did some modeling with Minecraft Legos. You had to like build your little fort that you wanted to use, and actually that was what you went and built. And this first Minecraft exploration class was 2nd through 5th graders, right? And another thing I was learning is like, how low can you go? Can you have 1st graders in there? We did have one Minecraft exploration that had 1st graders in there. We quickly abandoned that particular exploration because it was a little much with 1st graders. And then our second rotation was Minecraft storytelling. So this was actually where we had kids take their skills of learning how to build in Minecraft and use a screencasting tool. In our case, we use QuickTime Player because we have Macs at our school. And we wanted them to create original stories or retell a story or build something that was from a book. So let me show you an example here.
Okay, my name is Michael, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the Magic Tree House. And you just get up there and up here. So these are the ladders to get up here. Oh, shoot. There's other ladders.
They're real children.
that you could go up all the way up to over here on the top. And if I just go over there, you can like, if you want to go on the top there, you can just come up here, then just go down. And now I have to get in there. And these are some books and glass.
That's true too. Yeah.
Some more books over here.
Don't ask me why I'm breaking this. I'm just I'm putting it in.
All right, so I'm going to pause that for a second. I think you guys get the general sense. So basically what we did is that each student worked in teams of pairs. They identified either an original story, so they might have retold like, the story of the Three Little Pigs, or they created their own story, or they created a building from the story, and they basically created a movie. When you have better internet, if you look for me on YouTube, there's actually a whole playlist on my YouTube channel that's the students' videos. So we give you some ideas of the different types of things that they created. So what did we kind of learn from this? Like, what were our lessons? So first of all, we learned a lot about Minecraft knowledge and skills, especially Mr. Wood. We also learned just how to use the tools. We also learned about what screencasting and storytelling were. That was something that was relatively new for my elementary population. My middle schoolers might be familiar with that, but it was new for my elementary kids. And they immediately went home and made more. So like that night, I was getting emails with links to videos that they had uploaded to Google Drive of something that they created on their Minecraft at home. We learned about authentic audiences. We also learned about mentor text. This was actually the mentor text that we look at. It was the story of the 3 little pigs that someone else had created on YouTube to kind of give them a model to work from. And kind of more importantly, with all of these activities, we learned a lot about social skills. I mean, it started with 2 second graders sitting next to each other arguing over who got to control the mouse. And, so we had to work on sharing the mouse, sharing the keyboard. What are we going to do with? And also, how to teach each other. I mentioned kids coming up and, I figured out how to actually sit on top of the horse. Do you want me to show you? Awesome, I'll show you. And the age appropriateness. So I said earlier, we had that one time where we had first graders in there. And what we realized really quickly is that the first graders were awesome on the iPads. They weren't so awesome on the computers. And so that was something that we were sort of learning of like which tool with which particular age group. I showed you that particular video. The second workshop that we actually did was Lego Robotics. So through kind of a couple different series, we had 5 Lego Robotics kits, actually the home version. We didn't even have the educational version. And we were like, what are these things? All right, well, let's make an after-school enrichment and see if we can figure it out. And so our materials were the Lego kits. We had our iMac lab. And I'm laughing because this seems really simple, but it was kind of a disaster. So the challenge we gave the kids is how many of you, does anyone in here own this? Like your children have it or something? So in the home edition, when you open it up, there's basically 5 different robots you can make. So being really smart teachers, we had 5 kits. What did you think we did? Each group got to make a robot, right? So the idea was that they chose the robot that they wanted to make, and then they were supposed to build it and program it. The most fascinating thing about this is I thought going in that the programming would be the really hard thing. Oh no, it was building the robot was the really hard thing. And so we had groups of, we had 3rd through 5th graders, and we had groups of 3 or 4 students, and they were completely self-selected. And so you can see, like, one group, this was sort of a version of the robot that they were building, but then they were learning how to program it. And if you've never worked with the EV3 kit, you can kind of actually see it right here on the screen. It's just block programming. It's super, super simple. Basically, you're moving blocks, attached them together of what you want the robot to do. You send the program over a little cable to this particular device, and it can move forward. Children who can't figure out how to read the Lego directions can program the Lego EV3 Mindstorms kit faster than you can. I just want to let you know that. So that's kind of its technical level. So what did we learn from this? Well, the whole idea of building Legos versus programming. I thought building Legos was not going to be hard. The programming was going to be the easy, or was going to be the hard part. Complete opposite. We also learned a lot about following the directions in the Lego booklet. Because if you attach the parts incorrectly, they don't really work. We learned about block programming and sequential thinking. Right around this time, we were working through code.org, and in the code.org videos, they talk about debugging. That became like our #1 word in the Lego Robotics Club was debugging. Often you were debugging how you attach the Lego parts together, but we were debugging things all the time and really figuring out how to work as a team. Some pictures that I have here. So this group of girls, they were the amazing Lego Robotics champions. They built the robot, got it programmed, and everything was up and running way before everyone else was. This group of boys who I know they love Legos, and how I know they love Legos is they brought their own little orange part separators from their Legos at home. Built this thing that couldn't even touch the floor because they didn't follow the directions correctly. And so it was really cute when they programmed this. The little wheels were spinning and this little blade was turning, but it wasn't going anywhere. And so they had to do some debugging around, how do I rebuild this Lego so that it will actually sit on the floor and go? And then of course, like the snake, the one in the middle, that was the one that everyone really wanted to build, the snake. And then the cool lesson that all the kids got is even though it looks really cool on the box, it was the one that did the least interesting stuff once you had it actually programmed. So that was kind of another little fun lesson that we had there. Our last little academy that we had was our drone academy. So I mentioned we had Spheros, we had some parrot rolling spiders, we have iPads, we have the Tickle app. It's this free app that we can use to do some programming, and I'm happy to show you guys afterwards what that looks like. And so we thought, awesome, we're gonna do a 6-week drone academy. So it actually took us like 3 weeks, and then Jennifer Klosko, she's the principal at our school. She and I were quickly out of stuff. We weren't really sure what we were going to do. So we started doing some drone challenges. So things like kids had to program the drone to land on the target in the middle of the room. And these particular drones, if you've never used them before, they're easily influenced by the air conditioning turning on or people walking around the room. And so you really have to put some thought into, okay, how am I really going to get it over there? And what if the wind starts carrying it this way? How do I recorrect so that it will go back that way? We did some code.org challenges, and we also ended up buying some coding or programming board games. There's actually some really cool board games that are out there that you can use to kind of teach some basic logical thinking. And this was, kind of our 2nd through 5th grade group. What did we learn? Well, we learned about block programming, using the Tickle app especially. We learned this idea, we kept calling it like peeking under the hood of remote controls. Because what was kind of funny is when the kids came in and we asked them to program the drones to fly it, they were kind of bummed that they didn't just have a remote control. And so it was a really good opportunity to talk about, okay, there is some smart person behind this remote control that has configured it to do the things that you really want it to do. So we worked on that. General problem solving, working as a team. Here was one of their challenges, which was get the Sphero through the little maze that they had set up. How many of you in here have used the Tickle app? Just out of curiosity? Okay. So it's a free app. Just write down Tickle app. Don't have your children go into the iTunes store and search for Tickle app because they will see some other not awesome things there. It's something you want to do. And you're looking for the app that has the orca whale on it, not the one that has the scantily clad woman on it, just so you know. But it's a very simple block programming app that allows you to slide blocks together and press play. One thing, and Brian and I have been talking a lot about this, is there's these really great tools like these drones and these Spheros, and you can program them with this Tickle app, but it's actually not that hard. So what's the next step? And that was actually something that Jennifer, the principal, and I really learned from this particular workshop is we need to figure out how to take that to that next level. What does that really look like? We thought simply using the Tickle app to program, flying the drones, having a few challenges, that was like, that's gonna take us 6 weeks. And it took us like 3. And then we were quickly trying to think, okay, well, what else do we do as a result of that? So here are some pictures. This one right here kind of shows you a little glimpse of what the Tickle app looks like. So does this one. So basically you're sliding blocks together. This is showing you're connecting to this particular rolling spider. And when you press play, something's going to happen. It'll also connect to Spheros or to BB-8s and to Dash and Dot and some other devices as well. It's an amazing app that it's free. I mean, I would pay like $3 for this app, no problem. And so it's amazing that it's free. We also, worked with things like these little guys called B-Bots. And then, here's kind of a little shot of like one of the board games that we were looking at. This is Robot Turtles, which is kind of a coding board game that's sort of teaching kids how to sequentially think through a pattern, and you can set up challenges and that sort of thing. So what were the overall outcomes of all of this? So first of all, Hour of Code at our school exploded. In the past, Hour of Code has been something that we actually might have suggested for teachers to do. And instead this year, what we did is we tweaked it. We had these kids that have been in our various coding and programming workshops, and they wanted to co-run it. So what we ended up doing is doing Hour of Code rotations so that we had parents and students and then a few adults like myself that would be in a room staffing one particular experience. And we had the students and the teachers, their classroom teacher, rotate together. And we did that because what we were finding is that the teachers didn't really know what this could possibly look like in their classroom. They knew that Mr. Wood was doing some cool stuff after school, but we didn't really have a vehicle to show them. So we used Hour of Code to do that. And so you see, here's some kids using Hour of Code. Here's some kids actually, this is an idea of where they had to fly the drone and land on the target and that sort of thing. Those are some first graders doing that. We also started seeing things kind of move beyond enrichment. So, the teachers did their Hour of Code rotation. Next thing I know, the second grade team's saying, hey, when we were doing the Hour of Code, we saw the Minecraft in that one particular room. And in second grade, we studied communities, like suburban, urban, and rural. Do you think we could build those communities in Minecraft? Oh, sure, let's do it. So next thing we knew, we had a world going. The kids were basically building their suburban, urban, and rural communities. And on Fridays, they have fun Fridays. Like if you get all your homework done and all your classroom work done, there's 30 minutes at the end of the day to have some choice time. This is the number one choice still. Like we did communities in October, and we're still building our communities in Minecraft, just so you know. So that was one. This is actually at our board meeting with the little boy here in the red sweatshirt. He's flying a drone, showing our board members, how even a second grader can do it. And then this is a little picture, our kindergarten team, after they rotated through, they're like, oh, maybe we could use the B-Bots to teach kids programming by having them draw numbers. So they actually have a little marker attached, kind of like poking through the little hole back here on the back of the B-Bot, and they program the B-Bot to go the direction that they want it to go, and they're using the marker to kind of draw out the number. The other thing that happened as a result of enrichment is kids started asking, hey, can I be like Mr. Wood and teach my own enrichment class? Yes, this actually happened. So we have a third grader who has actually taught 2 cycles of Lego Master Builders. And really what this is, I think this is awesome if you really think about it. It's a third grader who goes home every week and he figures out a build challenge. He comes to school on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day his class is, shows the kids in Lego Club the build challenge, dumps the Legos out, and you have to be the fastest group to build something similar. And so he's set it up completely on his own. We had another group. How many of you in here are familiar with Prodigy? How many of you in here are elementary people? Okay, write down Prodigy. Write it down. It's if math met Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons person. I am a little bit of a math person, but I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons person. But this game is like crack at my school. Like, to the point that my own son, when he gets up in the morning, races out of bed when I wake him up to get dressed so that he can have 15 extra minutes to do Prodigy battles while dad is finishing up in the shower. And but what also happened at our school is that there was another third grader who said, I love Prodigy. I think this would be a really cool after-school enrichment activity. Hey, Miss Steinlein, she's one of the third grade teachers. Miss Steinlein, would you be the adult that would supervise the club? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my own world in Prodigy. Meanwhile, Miss Steinlein and I have no idea what this kid is talking about. I didn't know that you could build your own world in Prodigy. He's like, I'm going to build my own world in Prodigy, and then all the kids, we can come together and we can have our math battles. Doesn't that sound like fun? Does that sound like fun to you guys? No, I mean, come on, let's be honest. It does not sound super fun to adults. But here's what I know about Prodigy Club. It is our #1 club every time we have enrichment signups. It usually sells out in under 3 minutes. And so we now have a situation where the poor student's never going to be able to retire from Prodigy Club because we have so many children that want to do Prodigy Club. And we also then moved into student-led professional development. And some of you, we've been friends for a while, you know about this. So these are actually students teaching teachers how to play Minecraft. Because, Tracy in the back. Because I could barely teach you how to play Minecraft. I mean, like, I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't really know how to play Minecraft. So we actually ended up working with our middle school students in this particular case, and we had I had to cap it at 35 middle school students. I had like 60 that wanted to be Minecraft mentors. And basically what happened is they designed a 3 Wednesday afternoon workshops. So it was like 1 hour each Wednesday, 3 Wednesdays in a row. They facilitated the first workshop. At the beginning, they would do sort of introduction, like today we're gonna survive the night. Here's what that means. Here's what the monsters are. Here's how you kill the monsters, all those sorts of things. And then each student was paired up with one adult, and they worked together one-on-one, sort of coaching the adult through playing Minecraft. And it was really cute because I was watching middle school students coach teachers on how to use their mouse. That was, some of the things that we had to learn. Or, you're using different keys to move forwards and backwards. And the fact that there is no undo button. And so, what happens if you accidentally destroy something? And so this is something we're increasingly moving into of like, how do we leverage our students to do professional development, especially around the area of technology, because they honestly, as we all know, they sometimes know more than us and are a little more adept and agile. And honestly, they have the time. Sometimes I just don't have the time to come up with the workshop, right? They do. And what I'm finding though is it's also helping my teachers see their students in a completely new light. Kids that maybe they kind of ignored or didn't really think about, they really value these particular students as being a valuable resource for their classroom. So where are we going with this? So I already have a 5th grader, going to be 5th grader next year, who is begging me to let him do a student-led Minecraft club or Minecraft class next year. So he's going to be doing that. I have another student who's begging me to start first Lego Robotics. And so we're looking at doing that as well. We'll probably have a board games club where I have another student who would really like to set up a cardboard arcade, like kind of a la Kane's Arcade. And so we're probably going to do that as an after-school enrichment. And what we're also looking at is like, how do we bring more of this into our classrooms? Our teachers are hungry, our teachers are interested. These devices are being checked out all the time, but we're also starting to move into these, I should mention, these devices live on a cart. We have sort of our like robots programming cart that the teachers can roll into the rooms. But we're looking at building a maker cart with kind of maker materials, and we're also working on building a design thinking cart. Because this whole process has really gotten teachers sort of intrigued and interested in how do we get kids, really with more hands-on activities. So 3 questions that I always get, because I really think you should go back and start this. So first of all, how much time? Well, like I mentioned, each workshop was roughly 6 weeks long. Each workshop was approximately an hour. Prep time, the principal and I, when we would set these up, we would have 1 3-hour meeting. And we would just basically outline everything we want to do in a Google Doc. Part of that 3-hour meeting was often going and unboxing things, making sure we have enough batteries. Oh, we don't have that part. Let's quickly order on Amazon so that it'll be here next week. And that was it. That was really it. And often, when we were like, oh, it's Monday. What are we doing today? I don't know. Let's go look in the Google Doc. And we figure that out together. So the time commitment is pretty minimal. What was the cost? So, it really depends on what you're going to do. In our case, we had some of these materials already, little donors choose things here. A parent had donated something there. But we also did build it out with this after-school enrichment. And so if you don't have something like that, you might look for donations. If you have Title I funds, it could be a great resource for really providing, extension for kids beyond the day, and whatever school site funds that you might have access to as well. And so, and some logistics stuff. So registration, we kept it simple. It was all Google Forms and Google Sheets. We didn't do, some fancy sign-up tool or whatever. We did kind of learn the hard way, and if you have a situation like us, I'll give you this. So we post the course descriptions and the Google Forms on like a Monday night at 7 o'clock for parents to sign up. And we usually give them 3 to 4 days of text notifications that they know that this is coming, because all of our one problem we are hitting is that all of our enrichment workshops are selling out in like 10 minutes. And so if a parent, isn't on at 7 o'clock or can't be there or didn't notice it, their child might miss out. And so that is definitely like one area we're trying to think about is like, how do we grow this? What does that look like? And then I mentioned the planning. We really did this as a collaborative document. And whatever role you play in your organization, I highly recommend having a teaching partner, someone who can basically be there when the internet's not working that afternoon or whatever emergency you have and you have to go run and do it. And so in my case, it was the elementary principal and I. She was my teaching partner. So if I knew if some IT-related, a situation happened, that she could quickly take over. And similarly, actually, there were more times that I took over for her, where there was a school emergency that I took over real fast. So my 3 final thoughts on this, and we're purposely ending a little bit early so that 1, I can answer any questions, but 2, you can get to all the fun activities tonight, is 1, you can do this. And I would even say you need to do this. If you don't have children assigned to you right now, if you're not currently working with kids, you need to do this. You need to connect. You need to really build those relationships with kids. It'll fill your soul, and it will definitely fill theirs. The other thing I would say is if you're a district office folk, or if you're a site administrator, or you're a CTO, talk about building rapport with your teachers and building rapport with your families when they can see you as an educator and as a learner. Your best teachers are your students, so if you're like, well, I kind of want to do that one activity, but I'm not sure what it would look like, find the 1, 4th, or 5th grader who never stops talking about Minecraft or Legos or fill in the blank. That is your teaching partner. That could be one of your teaching partners right there, a really great kid to work with. And start small. It does not have to be this huge, giant thing. It can be a simple, 3, 4, 6-week activity. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, join us. This is really, as I said at the beginning, an idea that I got from other people, and I'm happy to share it with other people. And so you can actually join us in 3 different ways. A lot of us that are here, we're actually part of CapQ. We have our CapQ meetup tonight at 5:30 at the Village Pub. So if you'd like to continue extending the conversation, you can come there. A few of us that have been doing this, Jennifer and I and a few other teachers, we're actually going to be leading Rockstar Maui. If you're not familiar with Rockstar, it's a 3-day technology camp and sort of a pedagogy camp in Maui. Think of like summer camp for teachers, basically. And of course, we're an amazing school. We always have openings. I always tell my executive director, if you let me present, I'll advertise that we have openings. So anyways, thank you guys very, very much for letting me come and talk to you guys. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.